Welcome to the Book Faire podcast. My name is Anthony, and this week we have an interview with Mark and Scott Hoying. A librarian has been fired over a book display. A school board offers a school's stage for use after the school cancels a student performance. And states are preparing to protect against book bans. Let's start with an interview with Mark and Scott Hoying. Good morning, Scott and Mark. How are you two doing today?
Good
Good
morning. We are
morning.
good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Can you kick us off by introducing yourselves for the audience and what we'll be discussing today?
Yeah, my name is Scott Hoying,
And I'm Mark Going.
and we are going to be discussing our brand new children's picture book, Fa La La Family.
And what is Fa La La Family?
Fa La La Family is a book all about how families can look different ways, especially during the holidays. It's not always the conventional family. It can be a mom and you, it can be a dad or two, it can be a furry friend, love is love, family is community, whoever.
What is your background as a writer exactly before you got into writing Fa La La Family?
So I've been writing songs for years, and then Mark and I have written a few songs together. We've written a couple songs for Pentatonix, and this is our second children's book. And in our first children's book, something we learned is that writing a children's book is very similar to writing a pop song, like short, simple phrases, rhyming. And so we wrote the past two books together, and it was just like writing a song together.
Yeah, our very first book, How Lucky Am I, came out in 2024, so a little over a year ago. And that was our very first book, our first baby. And it was all about the life of a mayfly, which is the shortest living creature. It only lives 24 hours. And it's all about making the most of life and cherishing the day and seizing the day. So after we wrote that first book back in 2024, we caught the bug. We were like, we really want to keep writing as many picture books as we can. So we instantly started work on our second book, Fa La Family. And we thought there's no better concept than writing about Christmas because the holidays mean so much to us. Scott with his career in Pentatonix, as well as just our love for family and togetherness. It just felt like the perfect fit for our second book.
And on the topic of the holidays, what was it specifically that kind of gravitated this project to being about Christmas or about the holidays in general?
We have a lot of friends, especially being in the queer community, that are like sometimes bummed around the holidays because their family doesn't look the way that families always look. Everyone knows, like, we all go home to family during the holidays, but we think that the definition of family, we want it to be more inclusive with that and show that there's lots of different types of families and families can look different ways.
Yeah, family to us means so many things, like our parents, our siblings, our nieces, our nephews. We love our family so much.
Our friends.
Our friends, but also we love our friends, our chosen family, people we've met over the years, people, we were born into our family, but we've met along the way. And especially right now, as Scott and I start our own family, as we're going to be dads next year, we just wanted to write the story that we could pass along to our future babies and our kids and our grandkids and write a story that we could read to them one day and teach them lessons that we've learned in our lives.
First of all, I'd like to say congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know if you can actually tell the quality may be low, but that's a little non-binary pride ring that I wear.
Oh
Oh,
my
I love
gosh.
that.
It's
Yes,
amazing.
I am married to a trans woman, and so yes, I am very much a part of the LGBTQ community as well. And so when I saw that in the notes at the end of the book that you were going to be fathers, I was just so floored and just so full of emotions, and it got me just kicked into the holiday spirit as we record 2 weeks before Halloween. Getting into the Christmas spirit this early feels so good. Are there any experiences or stories or inspirations about found families that you two drew inspiration from?
Ooh,
Yeah.
I feel like just like personal friends that we have that, they have like Friendsgiving and they have like holidays with friends and also just we're thinking about our story too and how we're two dads and our kids are going to have two dads. And that's not the normal thing you see in a Christmas ad or something. So
Right.
we just wanted to put our little like piece of love into the world that brings that inclusivity.
Yeah, I think growing up, Scott and I, something we really talked about as we were writing the book is just growing up, we didn't see representation for folks that look like us, love that look like ours. In a lot of children's books, you see like the princess and princess, or you see,
A
just
prince
a,
and princess.
sorry, a prince and princess.
I wish we saw princess.
I wish we did. Oh my God, my mind. is manifesting, which I wish I saw.
Uh,
But you'd see a prince and princess, and we'd saw see stories that just didn't look like us. So a lot of the illustrations in the book are our own story. You see us with our future baby. You see families of maybe a single parent household, or raised by their grandparents, or raised by their family, or whoever it may be. We just really want to include. Not in the story, but also in the illustrations, different types of families, found families,
for instance, we
friends.
consider you family
Exactly,
because we're all part of the LGBT
Aw,
plus together.
exactly.
thank you. And can you talk a
No.
little bit more about those illustrations by Steph Liu? Was there any collaboration on your part with them? Were there back and forth? Were there notes going between you and the illustrator?
Yeah, it's a really beautiful process. We sent a ton of pictures of just our family and our memories, and we were like, anything you can put into the illustrations, like we love to put a piece of our lives in there.
Mm.
And Steph Liu, our amazing illustrator, who also did How Lucky Am I, our first book, she put our families throughout the book, and it was just so special to see. And then, like as we were going through it, we honestly didn't have many notes. She just crushes it. She's amazing. But
Yeah.
we'll just be like, ooh, can we add can we make the Christmas tree bigger here? Or can we make this page like a little more chaotic, like the crazy Christmas Eve morning or something? She's
See,
just
well,
wonderful to work with.
we love her. We have had the best time working with her. And as I was saying, we would send her pictures of our childhood homes and our families. So, for example, this is like my childhood living room, and you could see like my family, and this is like the paintings on the wall at home, and the couches that I grew up on. So it's really really incredible that we got to incorporate our own lives into this book, and she did it so beautifully. And it's going to be memories that last forever. These memories that we
That's
have
like
as kids.
immortalizing like this era of our life. It's cool.
Exactly.
And there's one illustration I'd like to point out here is where it's a close up of the decorations on the tree, and you see the ones that are
Yeah.
made like with macaroni that are made in classes. And that made
Yeah.
me think of how when I go to my own parents' house, I'm in my early 30s at this point, so I go home for Christmas, and my parents still have those childhood decorations. Are there any traditions for the holidays that you two are looking forward to, and especially looking forward to introduce with your family coming up?
Oh yeah, one tradition that we started recently is we'll go home and we'll just like make like a TikTok video of some kind, but not just like a 7-second dance. It's like we've got choreo, camera movements, direction, everyone's involved. And like that's always so much fun because it just like bonds the family and we have like this little video to remember that Christmas. So that's one thing we've done. And then we have some in Seattle too.
Yeah, so I come from a big family back in Seattle, a huge Filipino family. So combined, there's probably close to 100 of us. So we have big, big family parties where we have all the yummy Filipino food, pancit, palabok, dobo, lechons, all the food together. And then our family also just loves music. So there's karaoke, and we're just jamming to music and just having the best time together. And it's so perfect because Scott just fits in right in with them.
Oh yeah, it's the dream. I like remember the first time I went, they were like, we're doing karaoke. We want to make TikTok dance. I was like, this is the best. I was like, this is where I belong.
Yeah. So we definitely want to continue that tradition when we have, our kids, bring them home to Seattle, to Dallas, and then just, being with family, showing them where we grew up. Right now we live in Los Angeles, but our families both live in those cities. So it's always nice to go home and see them over the holidays.
And the karaoke, the music, that kind of segues into the next question I wanted to ask. As songwriters, one of my favorite aspects of the holidays is Christmas music. I am the person that's blaring "All I Want for Christmas Is You." I have an agreement with my wife. On the day after my birthday in July, Halloween decorations go up, and on November 1st, Christmas decorations go up.
It's
What
iconic.
That's a
are
great
your
rule.
person? What are oh, and don't worry, I'm not the person that leaves the Christmas tree up. It comes down on the 26th. What are your personal favorite Christmas songs as songwriters, as people that are so deeply entrenched in music? What are your personal favorite Christmas songs?
Oh my
Ooh,
gosh.
man,
So
where do we
yeah.
begin?
Oh my gosh. So my favorite of all time is probably Santa Tell Me by Ariana Grande.
Whoa,
That song is
your husband, your husband makes Christmas music for a living. I have hundreds of. No, you're correct. You're
that's
correct.
my top. Okay, so I'll do top three. That's one of my top three. And that song is just like plays around our house even during
Oh yeah, that's my
summer.
alarm all year.
Yeah, it's his phone alarm. It's so beautiful to wake up to every morning just to Ariana Grande's voice. I also love there's a new song on Pentatonix's new album that's coming out. What is that? Next week, called "Snowing in Paris," and it's featuring JoJo, one of our favorite singers of all time, and that's also one of my favorite Christmas songs of all time already. The song hasn't even come out yet, but we have it on our phone, so we just play it around our house just
That's a
for
good
fun
one.
all the time. Um,
What are some more? I like the really like old classic sounding Christmas songs, like just the Nat King Cole, Dean Martin. Like I'll go to a playlist on Spotify that's like old classic Christmas that
yeah.
I'll be home for. That really gets me feeling cozy.
Yeah, Underneath the Tree.
Yeah, one of the hardest songs I've ever heard.
Best songs ever.
And so y'all mentioned that you gravitated towards writing children's books. You wanted to write more picture books. Are there any plans after Fa La La Family to continue writing children's books?
But yeah,
Yeah, oh, for sure.
totally.
We've already started, like, little ideas here and there, like
Yeah, we went really above and beyond for this book. Like we sent our publisher like 4 book options. We were like, we just added more options in case you like something better.
there's so many
Like,
things that we love, like, maybe a book about superheroes or a book
yeah.
about, animals. I'm just making up things right now, but there's so many.
Yeah, there's gonna be a whole universe, like the Marvel universe, but it's gonna be like the Fall family
Yeah. Especially as we have our baby too, I feel like there's gonna be so many new inspirations for things that we haven't even thought of yet.
universe.
I feel like that's gonna be a whole new mindset for us for what our 3rd, 4th, and 5th book could be.
And speaking of inspiration, you said that you had written a children's book before this called, I believe you said it was How Lucky Am I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you went from writing one children's book and started developing several other ideas, but Fa La La Family is also a song. Where in the process did it kind of evolve into being multimedia?
Totally. So from our first book, we were like, we want to involve music heavily because it's just something we're really passionate about. And so in both our books, there's like a QR code that you can scan and then you can listen to the song
Yeah.
and it sounds like a Disney Pixar type song. And there's like a sweeping orchestra and like and you can listen and read the book at the same time. But for this book, we decided to go bigger and you can follow along with the song, but also there's like more songs that are just thematically in the like about family. And so it's a children's album now with this one.
Yeah, we really wanted to expand the world, so Fa La Family, the song, became an album called My Family, and it's all different types of songs, and the album's not just Christmas songs or holiday songs, and it's songs all about family and love, and we have some amazing friends and collaborators on the album. Megan Trainor is on a song called All I Need. Bela Fleck is on a cover of You're My Sunshine. So it's a great album, not only for families, but for truly anybody. You could play the album, I feel like, on a road trip or, out camping, wherever it may be. And it's just a feel good album, just full of messages of love and family and hope.
And I like to give an introspective question to close things out on. It's kind of open ended. So we'll go ahead and go one at a time. Since you both are songwriters, you're both creative, you're both artists. We'll start with Mark. How do you see yourself and the work that you do as an artist or as a songwriter or as a creator in general?
Yeah, I feel like just as a queer songwriter, author, writer in general, it's just such a responsibility and duty to put out messages of inclusivity and things that will change, hopefully, the world and people's minds. Because I feel like growing up, as I was saying earlier, we didn't see a lot of authors and writers and musicians who were queer or part of our community. So we just make it a part of our whole message and our whole livelihood to spread this message of our lives and hopefully of hope. Um, and I think that's what we'll continue to do, as husbands and as dads, is just keep creating this art that hopefully will inspire, other young queer kids out there to pursue their dreams and to write their own books and write their own music, because that's the whole goal, is to help inspire, that kid out there that doesn't see themselves in media, and hopefully we can do that for them.
And Scott, if there's anything else you'd like to add, how do you see yourself in the work that you do as a writer or as an artist?
I think that all of us and everything we do is so important. It's so important that we spread love and just put any light we can into the world. It feels like moving the needle is such like an overwhelming thing. And I think that all you can do is take baby steps. And in this case, we are just gonna the songs we write, the books we write, everything we do, the heartbeat of everything we do is gonna be love and inclusivity and joy. And hopefully it trickles out and
Yeah.
inspires people.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was an interview with Scott and Mark Hoying. Their new book, Fa La La Family, is out now, as well as a companion album, My Family, is available to stream on Spotify. Next, we'll be looking at some new releases. But first, if you appreciate the work being done on the Book Faire podcast, there are a few ways to show your support. First, you can like, comment, favorite, or follow wherever you are currently listening to help push the show out to new listeners. Second, you can follow the podcast on Blue Sky at Book Faire Pod, or go to patreon.com/thebookfair. The Patreon is where you can find episodes posted early, as well as links to news sources used throughout the show. Following on Patreon is free, and there are no posts hidden behind a paywall. And finally, the best way to help the Book Faire podcast grow is simply to share it with a friend, an educator, or a young reader in your life. Now, on with the show. Next, we'll be looking at some new releases, starting with Chris Makes a Friend by Alex Gino. 12-year-old bookworm Chris isn't thrilled about her and her soccer-obsessed younger sister Becca spending the summer with their grandparents in Massachusetts. While away from her Staten Island hometown, Chris notices that the distance prompts her BFF Vicky to shut her out in favor of new friends, causing Chris to withdraw. During her self-imposed isolation, Chris contemplates the ableism her chronically ill mother experiences, her relationship with her mom's non-binary partner, and her own gender expression. Quote, I tried calling myself he in my head just to see, and it was weird and awkward. They was a little better, but still not right. But when Chris meets newcomer Mia, the two become fast friends, exploring the town and talking for hours in Chris's secluded reading nook by the creek. What follows is a tender exploration of personal growth and change, which Gino delivers via Chris's blunt first-person perspective, her authentic feeling missteps, and her raw vulnerability, resulting in a perspective examination of interpersonal connection. Main characters are white-coded, and this book is recommended for ages 8 to 12. Next is Coldwire by Chloe Gong. In a near-future world ravaged by deadly disease and extreme weather caused by climate change, humans rebuff reality for a virtual realm. In this allegorical telling by Chloe Gong, global superpowers Atahua and Medaluo vie for societal dominance in a decades-long Cold War fought both IRL and virtually. Two Atahuan teens of Medan descent soon find themselves caught in the crosshairs, framed for treason by an infamous anarchist, 18-year-old Irali, a soldier for the virtual reality world developer Nile Corp, flees into Medalu to clear her name. Meanwhile, 17-year-old Leah, eager to complete her final exam mission and secure valedictorian at Nile Corp Military Academy, sets out into Medaluo's artificial reality to retrieve classified research from a rogue scientist. When their respective journeys converge, Irali and Leah unravel a conspiracy that threatens to undermine everything they know about themselves and the world they live in. Using alternating first-person perspectives, Gong capably explores themes of corporate control and artificial intelligence, while spinning a labyrinthine mystery with a sparkle of romance. A slow beginning gives way to a tightly paced climax and a juicy sequel hook. Ethnic Medans queue as Chinese, Atahuans queue as white, and this book is recommended for ages 14 and up. Next is Girls Who Play Dead by Joelle Wellington. A black teenager works to uncover the truth behind a peer's death in this socially conscious murder mystery. When Kyla's best friend Aaron dies after being thrown off a cliff by an unknown assailant, Kyla's brother Mickey returns to the siblings' hometown of Prophet's Lake, Massachusetts, to help her cope. Following an emotional breakdown 3 years ago, Mickey left to live with their estranged mother in Boston. He's therefore surprised to find that Kyla is nothing like the sister he remembers. She's secretive, sometimes cruel, and seems only interested in emulating Erin's beauty influencer persona. Mickey resolves to find out what happened to Erin, but the only clue he has to work from involves mysterious test kitchens, which might be connected to the beauty products developed by Prophet's Lake's most prominent business, Cook's Cosmetics. As Mickey dives deeper into the story surrounding Cooks, he stumbles across a conspiracy that threatens all of Prophet's Lake. Penetrating interrogations of grief, mental health, and the role one's outward image plays in public perception elevate the overarching narrative, which Wellington presents with refreshing matter-of-factness across a sharp, omniscient POV. This book is recommended for ages 14 and up. And the last title we'll be looking at today, Under a Fire-Red Sky by Geraldine McCaughren. As war looms, children are evacuated from London homes and sent to the countryside for their safety. Just as her train is scheduled to leave Greenwich, however, teenage Jemmy disembarks, prompting 3 other teens in her rail car, Olive, Lawrence, and Franklin, to follow suit. Each one has their own reasons for remaining in London. Though resolute Jemmy is eager to escape her physically abusive father, she fears being under the guardianship of a stranger with a similar temperament. Olive worries about leaving behind her fireman father. Posh Lawrence wants to return to the airplane he's building in his garage. And brave Franklin yearns to do something for his community. Upon finding an abandoned van for shelter, Jimmy resolves to make a living on the streets alongside Franklin, while Lawrence and Olive head home to continue their own responsibilities. But as the Blitz begins, the 4 friends must rely on one another to survive. Assured prose details harrowing yet exciting adventure, while thoroughly researched world-building and thoughtful characterizations round out this engaging, teen-centered look at an important slice of British history. This book is recommended for ages 12 and up. Finishing this week's episode with some news, starting with a Minnesota school library worker being terminated over inclusions in a Banned Books Week display. On October 9th, the principal of Northwood School sent a note to parents about inappropriate displays, books, and discussions about banned books in the school library. Local news site The Timber Jay was able to find posts on social media about the allegedly inappropriate discussion. A whiteboard in the elementary section of the school library with an illustration of a bookshelf filled with 10 banned books, and the question, "How many have you read?" written underneath. The titles on the display include books reported by the American Library Association to be the most challenged titles in the country. Interviews conducted by the Timber Jay have determined that the display was used for a brief lesson on banned books, given to a 2nd and a 4th grade class. 2 titles, Genderqueer and All Boys Aren't Blue, were mentioned, but the actual books were displayed on the high school section of the school library, away from the whiteboard and the discussion with elementary students. A parent and former teacher was one of the individuals that filed a complaint with the school. While the titles were only discussed in the context of banning books, the parent claimed that the wording, "How many have you read?" is encouraging students to read banned books and promotes sexual materials to 2nd and 4th grade students. At the time of recording, the library worker has been terminated by the school district, and it's times like this to remember the context. The topic of banned books affects students and communities regardless of age. The books were available only to high school-aged students, and the content of them was not discussed with elementary students, only that the books were considered banned by some schools and libraries. Next, a Milwaukee public library has seen a rise in protests by a conservative activist group. Wisconsin Mass Resistance organized a protest outside of Hales Corners Public Library, calling for the termination of library director Stephanie Lewin Lane over a collection of LGBTQ+ themed books that they claim to be harmful for children. Titles listed by the group include Let's Talk About It by Erica Moen and Matthew Nolan, This Book is Gay by Juno Dawson, It's Perfectly Normal by Robbie H. Harris and Michael Emberley, Heartstopper Volume 5 by Alice Oseman, and Queer, There, and Everywhere by Sarah Prager. Over a year ago, the Hales Corners Library Board voted unanimously to keep 3 challenged books on its shelves, in which Stephanie Lewin Lane was found by the staff to have followed proper library procedures in her review of challenged titles. And now, Wisconsin Mass Resistance has targeted the library director in their protests. A group of 10 to 15 people gathered outside of the library calling for the dismissal of the director. And, thanks to a social media post by Whitnall Resident Engagement Network, roughly 5 times the amount of people came in support of the freedom to read in counter-protest. One supporter, fellow librarian Ashley Burbo, said, quote, "There has been information put out there that has been misconstrued. Talk of pornography in the youth service departments, when in actuality, there needs to be books that have conversations about what kids are going through in age-appropriate needs." End quote. Among the titles listed by the censorship group, as well as in the original challenge from 2024, are books that are widely recognized for offering inclusive sex education and LGBTQ representation for young readers. And to this day, the board of directors have held that Stephanie has done nothing wrong and has not violated library policy. Next, a school board in Indiana offers the use of a school's theater after high school play has been canceled. The Marion Community Schools Board of Trustees has offered one of the district's auditoriums to a group of theater students at Mississinua High School at a meeting last week. MHS students will be able to use an auditorium for the high school production of Between the Lines, based on a novel of the same name. MHS administrators originally canceled the planned performances for Between the Lines after a parental complaint about a non-binary character from the book that doesn't even appear in the play that the students were scheduled to perform. Going forward, the school is discussing plans for a more robust review of proposed productions, which is surprising after the character named in the complaint was cut from the script of the production. As of now, performances by Mississinua High School's theater students are expected to continue, thanks to the school district offering an alternative venue. And rounding out this week's episode with some rapid-fire stories about communities supporting the freedom to read. Banned Books Week was last month, and the school year has started with a slew of laws passed by state legislators earlier in the year, attacking libraries and classroom collections. However, there are groups that fight in the support of the freedom to read. Michigan Library Advocates is one such group, calling on state leaders to protect reading rights throughout the state. 4,300 people in Michigan have signed a petition in support of the freedom to read, urging Governor Gretchen Whitmer and the state legislature to create safeguards against censorship and book bans. Meanwhile, in the state of New York, the Brooklyn Public Library has run multiple campaigns like Books Unbanned since 2022. This week, the BPL has hit a massive milestone where library card holders have borrowed over 1 million ebooks through the library district. Brooklyn Public Library has issued over 50,000 digital library cards that are available to teens and young adults all over the United States without needing a state residence to apply. BPL offers a Books Unbanned library card that can be used for participating branches, including Brooklyn Public Library for U.S. residents 13 to 21, Boston Public Library for ages 13 to 26, LA County Library for California residents 13 to 18, San Diego Public Library for 13 to 26, Seattle Public Library for 13 to 26, and Long Beach Public Library for residents aged 13 to 19. You can apply to these if you are a resident in the United States, except for LA County Library, which is restricted to California residents. Links to applications are available at booksunbanned.com/card. And the final story for this week comes from New Mexico, where state legislators are preparing to introduce bills restricting book bans in the state. Representative Kathleen Cates, along with 2 other legislators, have bills they are planning to introduce, one of which specifically names tribal and rural libraries used by indigenous tribes. Representative Cates points out how most districts and public libraries have policies in place that allow parents to dictate what students can check out, as well as processes for addressing inappropriate content. Book bans largely target LGBTQ+ stories and authors. And as Kate says, quote, "Freedom to read is a freedom to belong, and it is essential." End quote. This will conclude another episode of the Book Faire podcast. If you'd like to learn more about the stories covered today, you can go to patreon.com/thebookfair. Episodes are posted there early, along with links to news sources used throughout the show. If you'd like to help the podcast grow, the best way to do so is simply to share it with a friend, an educator, or a young reader in your life. Thank you so very much for listening, and as always, I'll talk at you next time.